Good day everyone, I'm Liam, the moderator for this webinar. I welcome everyone to today's webinar 21 CFR Part 11 Compliance with Electronic Signature. I want to introduce our presenter for today, David Nettleton. Computer System Validations Principal David Nettleton is an industry leader, author and teacher for 21 CFR Part 11, Annex 11, HIPAA, EU General Data Protection Regulation, GDPR, software validation and computer system validation. I would now like to hand over the floor to the speaker. Over to you, David.
Hey, thank you so much and welcome everyone. We have a really great webinar today. It is full of information that is hard to find, even more difficult to understand. So I'm going to lay it out to you in a really understandable way. There's going to be a lot of information. Okay, so this webinar describes exactly what's required for compliance with the US law, Part 11, which is really a little two-page law that doesn't tell you much of anything. And then there's the European equivalent law, Annex 11. So in this webinar, we're going to explain how to write a data privacy statement. Now, this is a new SOP that every company needs in order to be compliant with data integrity worldwide. It started in Europe, but it's all over the world now. Okay, so our agenda is we're going to talk about why do we have this little two-page Part 11 law. We're going to talk about all the system features that you need to buy, you need to configure. We're going to talk about what IT does. Validation is the biggest component of compliance, and we're going to be going over the different validation models. And then we're going to go over all the SOPs that make that happen. That data privacy statement will be one of them. At that point, you'll know everything you need to know about Part 11, and then you'll need to compare it to Annex 11, and you're going to see they're basically the same. Then we're going to go over the actual data privacy statement content. Let's talk about some fun stuff. Let's talk about why we have the Part 11 law. Part 11 law is written for users. They need to know when the computer system's working right or wrong. The idea is that all predicate rules, now predicate rules are the GxP regulations other than Part 11. Part 11 has an excellent return on your money. The cost of compliance is relatively cheap compared to you're going to have loss. Okay, so what does Part 11 really mean? Well, Part 11 means four things. We're going to talk about the SOPs you need. Now, I'm going to leave those for last. In general, the FDA tells all regulated companies there are required characteristics of software. You must put them in your user requirements. You must buy these required characteristics. Now we're going to go over 5 pages of security industry standards. These are things that you want to know about because you've got to buy software that does it and configure the software to do this. Passwords are not remembered by anything, not by your browser, not by your application, not by your password management utility. Temporary passwords are unique. 2 people join the company tomorrow. They're given 2 different passwords. They cannot be guessed. In this case, we have inactivity timeouts. First, the application has an inactivity timeout. You don't touch the application. After 20 minutes max, it says enter your password. Not a lot of software does this next one, but a lot of times manufacturing software will do this. Now, data transfer. We got data in one place, want to get it to another place. How do we do it? Audit trails record the creation, modification, inactivation, or true deletion of any kind of electronic record. Let's move into approval of electronic records. So an electronic signature cannot be modified or copied by anyone. It has to be super secure. Let's talk about a proper electronic signature. IT would do if they're building infrastructure. Validation is the largest area, okay? And we know that there's 2 validations that we got to keep separate, but the users are responsible for both. There are 3 standard validation models, okay? So let's go look at the first model, build nodes. How do I take the source code and convert it to executable code? The model for user validation. This is a 10-step model. We wanted to call the risk assessment R, but R was already used for requirement, so use H for hazard. Now, hybrid is the joining of the 2 previous models. So you've got user requirements first, like always, and you have validation completion report at the end, as always. Okay, those are the 3 standard models. But then change control comes in. So industry has come up with this 3-way change system. For minor system changes, this is 80% of your life. What is it? A change control protocol is the delta, the difference in requirements, specifications, hazards, tests. A maintenance event is an SOP that only has a list of things like for like changes. They're how to manage changes. How does hosting change anything of what we've gone over? The regulated company with the FDA license always has 100% liability. How do you deal with a vendor? Well, first, you got to make sure that the vendor is good before you buy. So now we're moving into the first of the 4 areas, which I saved to last, and that is SOPs. So everyone needs SOPs. This is something like a 3-page document that tells you how to process SOPs. It's easy. IT is a group you should never get rid of. There's 2 groups you should never get rid of. Accounting, they know where your money is. Quality assurance. Do not get quality assurance confused with quality control. Everyone has COTS software, so everyone needs the 10-step computer system validation. Software development. If you're a software vendor, you need to know the 9-step. If you're a user auditing a software vendor, you need to know the 9 steps. You know everything you need to know about Part 11. Finally, we get to the brand new latest SOP on data privacy statement. So the data privacy statement expands the 4 areas of Part 11. How do you do it? Well, I didn't know how to do it, so I called up some lawyers and said, give me the questions to ask my clients. So you might not know these things. You might have to go to your vendors and ask, how does a person obtain and revoke consent for the use of the data? How do you notify people of this data privacy statement or of an update to it? Well, you generally send them an email with a link in it. Finally, who is your data protection officer? Here we are. Our roadmap for compliance is this. Well, thank you, everyone. Thank you for your participation today. Okay, so I just want everyone to know that I do this work every day, and the fill-in-the-blank templates are the way to go. And understanding Part 11 and how it works, now you have an understanding of it. Use this to be really efficient. It was never intended to make things difficult or slow things down. That's kind of what happened. But when you do it correctly, it's really quite fast and meaningful. So go give it a try. Let me know if you have any questions. Have a good rest of your day. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, David. That concludes
Thank
this
you.
session
Great
for today.
job.
Yes. Thank you everyone for participating. Have a good day, David. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.